Chapter 2. Wake up! Mainun! Huh? Primoana? Mainun said as he awoke, not realizing the night had passed already. I've looked on as he came from his sleep, not even paying attention to his awakening comment. Mainun opened his eyes and saw young Ive watching him as he awoke. Realizing what he said, he looked about his tent. Primoana was long gone. Tavo summons you, Ive said to him. I'll be right there. Let me clean my mouth. Okay, said Ive, as he left Mainun's tent and began running towards the Grand Wiccan's domain. He went directly into the tent of the Wiccan. He smiled at the 3 naked tribeswomen that were inside. He's on his way, Tavo. Thank you, Ive, Tavo responded, and sent the tribeswoman out of his tent. He was already dressed in his beige and white spotted robe. Tavo appeared to be very old, but looks can be deceiving. Tavo reached for his staff and ran his fingers through his beard that flowed to his chest. He turned his lamplight up to give more illumination to the room. You need anything else? I've asked of the Wiccan. Tavo looked over to him. You will be a good servant to me one day. Like Mainun? He asked, with hopeful eyes. Just like Mainun. Filled with comfort and pride, I've exited Tavo's tent. Shortly after Ive's exit, Mainun parted the leather flaps of the Wiccan's tent and presented himself to his leader. Do you need me, Tavo? He asked, as he straightened his body to his full height once inside. Not really, replied Tavo, as he came forward and placed his hand on Mainun's shoulder. I merely wanted to tell you how great you have become to your people, and how grateful I am to have raised you. Thank you, Tavo. Mainun accepted the praise with a bow of respect. You brought down a great beast yesterday, the Wiccan stated. My men had my side, Mainun responded. Yes, but I heard all about how things went down. I haven't spoken to you in a few days. I know, you've been sleeping. I overstand. He cracked a faint smile. Mainun knew that Tavo wanted to bear children and was aiming to do so. He replied the same and turned to leave. Walking out of the tent, he took notice the wind had grew stronger. The breeze, though, felt great, for it appeared like it was a hot day ahead. He looked off to the men fooling around on their hovercrafts. Mainun! Mainun heard his name being called, but was unclear of where the voice had come from. He looked farther to his right to see a light-skinned, small-framed male, womanly strut. The dust blowing in the wind was interfering with his vision, but he knew that walk. It was his associate, Ella, who was finishing the repairs on his hovercraft. Seeing that he had Mainun's attention, Ella began jogging towards him. Your hover is fixed, he called out. Walking towards him, Mainun asked, Where is it? Ella stopped his approach, turned his back to Mainun, and headed back the way he had come. Ella! Where you are going? Shouted Mainun. To get it. You want to run it, right? He turned back around to him. Mainun stopped. No, but can you bring it to my tent, please? Sure, responded Ella. Turning again, he headed back to his tent. Mainun noticed someone was waving at him, yet trying to hide at the same time. It was Primoana. He watched her duck low after getting Mainun's attention, and then ducked behind a thick tree. Mainun looked about to make sure he was the only one who saw her. Relieved that no one else noticed, he strode to the other side of the tree and leaned against it. This must be urgent, he said. He turned his gaze to the village, as if he wasn't talking to anyone. Maybe not to me, but I've been thinking, said Primoana. About? Mainun inquired. You want to know where I stay? right? She asked. Yeah, he replied, trying to keep his words short. Do you have time? She asked him. I don't have anything to do today. Oh, wait, he said, as he saw Ella bringing his hover back towards his tent. Ella noticed Minun as he was sitting and decided to bring the hover to him, for he was headed in his direction anyhow. Why are you sitting over here, Noon? He asked. Minun shrugged his shoulders. Good place to watch everything. Primoana giggled under her breath because she knew this was her spot to watch everyone, in, out, and who's about. Ella glanced behind him and nodded. Yeah, I guess you can, he said to Minun. I guess I'll see you later, Minun said in a rush-like tone. Ella looked back at him quizzically. I was just going to, he started to say, but looking at Minun's face, he could see Minun wanted to be by himself. I'll talk to you later. Sounds good to me, Minun replied, grabbing hold of his hover. Minun watched Ella walk away, waiting until he was sure no one was close enough to hear him. Prim? He asked. I'm still here. You ready to go? Yeah. Then he paused a moment. I've first got to put my hover. No, you don't, she interrupted. Bring it. I can't even remember the last time I had to ride on one of them. She looked out from around the tree to make certain no one was watching them. Hold on to your hover and give me your hand, she instructed Minun. Knowing what is about to happen, he asked, is this going to fry my brain or something? No, stupid, she said with exasperation. Just give me your hand. Minun held out his hand towards her, closed his eyes and said, I'm ready. He felt a wave of soft vibration rip through the body so fast he couldn't help but to open his eyes. Primoana was laughing. That was so weird, he said, and let out a slight laugh. Hey, where are we? He asked, looking around him at an unfamiliar territory. Northlands, she announced. As in, across that sea? He asked. He could see the waters from where he stood. Yeah, she replied, joining the gaze. Lovely, isn't it? She asked as they looked over the beautiful view. Very, he agreed, and looked over at Primoana. We're way over 12,000 miles away. Oh, most certainly, she confirmed. What makes you say that? He shrugged. Random. She looked up at him, then to his hover, and asked hesitantly, Can I get on it? Huh? He stared down at her. Your hover, she clarified. Oh. Giggles escaped her. Here. She reached, palm out. No, he said. What? No, he said. What? She questioned as she cocked her hips to the side, then frowned at the hover. I don't know how to work this thing. You get on in the front. I wasn't asking to steer it. He jumped on. Oh, okay. Where's your home? He asked. She shook her head and hopped on the back. You drive and I'll guide, she instructed. Just like that, he said, showing her how to start the hover. Yep. They drifted over the valley for several hours and talked of the land and the creatures they passed. They could see all the way up to the nip north as they drifted. Primoana never felt so much at peace as she did just holding on to Minun. She then took notice of a very tall tree that came into her view and pointed. There, she indicated to Minun. That's you? He asked. Yep, she replied, as they pulled up to the tree, stopped the hover, and jumped off. Minun looked about in a search. Where's the door to this place? He asked her. Primoana pointed to the top limb of the tree. And just how am I supposed to get up there? Minun shook his head cluelessly. Primoana took hold of the hover and replied, The easy way or the hard way? Minun thought and quickly decided. I'll take the hard way. Hearing the answer, she said, Okay. Primoana then vanished with a hover. Mainun watched her vanish and took another quick study of the large tree. There were no reachable limbs within the first 9 feet. He rubbed his hands on his boots, bent his knees, and leaped high onto the bark, tightly gripping with his fingers and locking his legs, then began hugging and tugging to pull his body up. "Oh shit!" he cried out, and a thud was heard as he fell from the tree. "Okay," he murmured to himself. "I think the easy way is a better option." With laughter, Primoana reappeared. Still on his back at the base of the tree, he looked over to her and asked, "You're just going to laugh at me, huh?" He stood up and brushed off his hands. Primoana answered him with a little laugh and took hold of his hand. With a touch, she instantly teleported him to her domain. Mainun shook his head with wonder. "How do you do that?" "I told you. My mother was an albinus. My father was an immortal," she responded, walking away. "Albinus have strange powers to stretch, teleport, who knows?" "You don't look albino." He glanced at her. "I'm young and immortal, that's what I am," she said as she plopped down upon her comfy settings nearby. Mainun turned in a circle, looking about him at Primoana's domain. "I'm starting to believe you now," he told her. "You have a nice place," he commented, taking in the wooden walls and furnishings. "Thank you," she replied with a smile. "And it's very, very big, even for a tree." "We're not in the tree, silly. That was just the entrance," she pointed upward. His eyes followed where she was pointing and found himself considering the big hall above himself. He saw no ladder. "Just a thought, Primoana," he said. "How was I supposed to come down from that height?" "That was also the hard way," she told me. "And kind of the point." "What?" She laughed and then said, "I wasn't going to let you fall. And besides, I'm confident you were never going to make it that far." "Why do you live beneath this tree anyway?" he asked her. "It's enchanting and..." She hesitated as if searching for a word. "It is special," she continued, and looked about. "It's complicated, but it keeps me safe." "From who?" Mainun asked. "But lately, I've been fine," Primoana replied without really answering his question. "They're just dreams." "Oh, nightmares?" Mainun guessed. "No more than that. I'll wake up with wounds on my body around my neck and legs." He paused at that. "Wow, that is strange." Primoana was hesitant to reveal much more of her past, but decided to tell him a little more. "I ran away from my homeland. Well, kind of." While listening to her, Mainun was also staring up at the thick, glassy hall above them and suddenly realized it was getting dark. "Can we continue this tomorrow?" he asked her. "Why?" "It's dark out," he explained. "So? Stay," she said. "My tribe will worry if I don't return," he explained. Primoana was still sitting on her little sofa. "Such a responsible man you are," she remarked as she pulled herself up. "Okay, I'll stay with you then," she told him. "Tonight?" he asked. "Yeah. Do you mind?" she questioned. He shook his head. "Nah." Primoana reached out and took hold of his hand. "Ready?" she asked him. "Yeah," he said, and he immediately felt his body begin to tingle all over again. This time, he kept his eyes open. "I'll never get used to that," he said, as the sights around him rapidly changed in front of his eyes, and in a moment, they were back. "Stay here for a bit," he told her, stepping into his village, from around the surrounding trees where they made their return. Primoana slipped away and hid in her same hiding spot as always, watching everything around her. She saw Mainun talking to others. Everything seemed to be fine by the expression on their faces. She saw him signaling to her, knowing she was watching, and indicating that nothing was amiss as he walked off towards his tent. She began moving as well. As she got close, she noticed someone else was coming, so she made a quick detour behind someone's tent. Mynoon had started cleaning up from the following night and had his back to the entrance when he heard someone enter. He assumed it was Primoana. "If we had come back any later, I'd think they would have put out a hunt for me," he remarked. "What are you talking about?" came the voice. Quickly, Mynoon turned around to see Ive. "Were you out with someone?" Ive asked. "What are you doing here?" Mynoon asked, avoiding Ive's question. He reached behind himself and grabbed a book that he had saw while cleaning. Opening it, give Ive the illusion that he had been reading when Ive entered. "I haven't seen you all day," complained Ive. "I just wanted to see you before day's end, that's all." Ive's eyes shifted to the book in Mynoon's hand. "You were reading?" "Yeah," responded Mynoon. "Oh, I'm sorry I startled you." "It's all right." Mynoon reassured the boy as he laid the book down. "I just was out and about most of the day." "Where'd you go?" Ive wanted to know. "I'll tell you about it tomorrow," Mynoon told him. "Okay, you have a good night, Mynoon." "You too, Ive," Mynoon replied as Ive left his tent. Primoana saw the young one walking away and looked about for others before she entered Mynoon's tent. As she entered, she saw Mynoon reading a book. "That boy looks up to you," she commented to Mynoon. "You saw him?" "I always see him," she answered, and then her face became flushed as her expression went blank. Mynoon clearly saw the numbness in her face and asked in concern, "You all right, Primoana?" Primoana blinked a few times before responding, "I've dreamed of this night." She was filled with lust and desire. "What do you mean?" he asked, bewilderedly. "What do you speak of?" "I have dreams of my own future. Premonitions," she told him. "Premonitions? Sounds like your name," he remarked. "I know. It's a gift I have because I'm immortal." "But are you okay?" he asked worriedly. "Yes, I'm fine." "Why does it spell you like this?" he asked her. "Oh, that's not because of my ability." She peered into his eyes, catching her gaze. He too became driven behind her energy. "But it's because everything must be taken in. My dreams could be a warning, or just to let me know where or how near I am to something else in time." "Tell me, Primoana, why must you look so young?" "My aging will cease when I look of 63 seasons." "That's 21 eons, right?" he inquired. "Yes, 3 seasons in one." "How many seasons are you?" "I stopped counting eons ago." "You look of 27 seasons?" he told her. "Yes, but I'm not." She paused a moment before she began again. "I just started developing breasts and hair on my pusna. I've never been with a man because I don't think they will accept my body." "You look so young." "Yes, but if you know what I really am, why deny me?" "Would you still deny me, Mynoon?" she asked him. "I'd have to," he told her. "Why, if you know?" she asked. "It's just your looks are young, Prim. Like you said, you're barely developing." "No, I said it's just starting." She paused, then decided. "Let me show you," she said, and began unfastening her cloak. "Wait, Prim," he told her. He was stunned by the clothing she now revealed. "Do I dress like a child to you?" she asked, as she laid her cloak aside and sat upon one of his chairs, crossing her legs, wearing only her grey bra top, thong-like grey panties, and flat-soled, knee-high black boots. She then began taking off her black gloves. "I noticed you gazed at my belly, Mynoon. Do you like my abs?" she asked him. Mynoon was unable to respond. All he could do was gaze at her figure and her long hair falling to her back. It always amazed him how her hair would randomly shimmer with the right light. Primoana leaned forward from the chair and began crawling towards him where he sat. Do you still deny me, Mainune? Do you still want to? Please, Prim, Mainune pleaded. Please? She repeated. So you're not denying me? You're just unsure. Yes, I'm unsure. That's why I can't do this, he told her. You can. You want to, she told him, as she stood up and leaned over. Because of her small stature, even on her feet, she did not have to look far down to meet his eyes. Take my panties off, she told him. He shook his head. I can't. Then I will. The thong was held up with strings tied to each hip. With a slight pull of a single string, it came undone, and the thong slid down her right leg. Mainune saw her pusna had barely any hair on it yet. She had a little gap between her legs. He could fully see a tiny, tight pusna. The pusna lips were completely touched together. As he studied her beautiful brown skin, he could feel his blood rushing, strong, through his phallus. He could not contain the swelling. Prim, please, he begged. This does not feel right. Physically, she asked, staring at the bulge in his cloth. Or mentally, she said, taking off her bra. You do know, whatever you let affect your mind will disturb your entire body, right? Her nipples were dark chocolate and hard. She knew she had him. No more resistance, she told him. But she knew she had to take full control of him before he tried to pull back. She went to her knees and slowly reached for his phallus. Once she had his phallus within her right hand, she pulled a blade out from out of her boot with her other hand. No time to be wasted. She quickly cut his loincloth from his body and let it drape to his side, along with the blade. His phallus was immense in her small hands. Prim, he struggled out her name. Shush, let me bless you. She licked her lips and began putting his phallus in her mouth, tongue first, holding on to it with one hand. Mainune could not stop her. He no longer wanted to. She had proven she was not a child. He just had to come to those terms. With that, he had completely given in. It was mind over matter, and he knew this was not going to end. Not now. He stared at her, little head on his phallus. He could tell she didn't know what she was doing, but was trying. Prim. No, she replied, staying focused. You have to go deeper, he told her. Surprised, she looked at him, then nodded. Deeper. Yes, I shall. She put it back in her mouth and took it as deep as she could, and farther. He felt the head of his phallus hitting the back of her throat. She was sucking and swallowing so much phallus she could no longer breathe through her mouth. Watching her long sucking bobs as she continued to suck, his eyes began glaring at the arch in her back, then further to her beautifully formed round bottom that was now propped in the air. He reached out and took a hold of them. Rubbing his palms across both cheeks, he then slid his fingers down further to the split between her ass to finally touch her pusna. She was sticky, wet, as she twirled his middle finger between her super tight pusna lips. It was as if her inner juices were spilling out. He pushed his finger deeper into her. Prim moaned. His finger alone felt so large in her pusna. She felt him stretching her. She never stopped blessing him though. She wanted this. She wanted to taste the nectar of life. Oh, yes, Mainune murmured. He knew he was so remarkably close to coming. Look at me, he told her, and she instantly responded, watching her eyes and chin raise. Now seeing her lips wrapped around his shaft drove him to explosion. He felt her gag and almost choke as he thrusted his member deeper down her throat. But she hung on. His juices combusted, filled her mouth all at once, but she maintained. Tears welled in her eyes from the slight choking, but not a drop came from her mouth. He watched her swallow it all. As the throbbing in his phallus diminished, he felt the pussnut tighten around his finger. "Are you crying?" Minun asked. "No," she replied as she wiped her tears. "You have a big phallus." "I'm sorry," he apologized. "Don't be," she said, smoothing her long wavy hair away from her face. "Let me return the blessing," Minun said, reaching for her. Primoana crawled close to him to kiss his lips. He then leaned her back. She was surprised at the wonderful sensation she was feeling. It was so good to her as his tongue circled around her nipples and the gentle nibbles. She felt his free hand caress her body. Then his hand cupped her booty and lifted her to her feet. A wet, warm tongue was then polishing her pussy. She closed her eyes in pleasure, and her moans were flowing through her as his tongue slid between her lips, stroked her clit, and massaged her love knot. She felt his tongue slide deeper. "Oh God," she cried, as she felt his tongue dancing deep inside her, hitting her G-spot, his lips damn near consuming her whole pussna. She was on fire. She grabbed his head as his tongue continued to whip her clit. She forced her eyes open and looked down on him and felt her belly get tight, and suddenly she felt on the brink, ready to soar. She was struck. She could not move as her orgasm frenzied, and Minun didn't stop licking. He didn't stop sucking. Minun, stop. Stop. Minun. He wouldn't stop. Her body was trembling. The pussy was jumping so hard. Oh my God. Stop, Minun. Outside their tent, passers-by heard the shout and glanced over, but did not stop. Minun looked up at her and smiled. "I just wanted to make you scream," he told her. Her knees weak, her body still trembling. She had trouble remaining on her feet. She looked at him and laughed. "Look at your face," she said, noticing her juices all over his lips and chin. He laughed at her as he whipped away. At a standstill, waiting for her pussna to settle, she nearly tipped over. "So glad you were so determined. You're such a fucking asshole," she remarked. "Are you ready?" he asked her. She looked at his phallus and took a deep breath. "Yes." "Is it dry?" He looked down at his member and replied, "Slightly." Weak in the legs, she got to her knees and blessed him to wet him. "Okay," she exhaled. "Let me," Minun said to her. "No, I want control," she said. "I'm not trying to die tonight." "Okay." Minun agreed and laid back down. Primoana crawled above him. Minun then took hold of her with one hand while holding on to his phallus with the other. He pulled her lower so that her hot, dripping pussna met his phallus. He began flexing his way inside. He could hear Primoana groan as his head began breaking inside. The hair against her back was beginning to drip sweat. "Slow, Minun." She could feel him sliding at the same time, ripping into her. "I am," he reassured her. "Ow!" she cried. She felt him pushing deeper, and deeper he pushed, the more it hurt. How could it hurt and still feel so good, she wondered. "Damn!" Minun said. He was worried about the smallness of a childlike body, but it was also beginning to turn him on, just watching as his phallus slowly disappeared inside her little body. He saw that blood had begun to streak from her. "Come on, Minun. It's killing me," she cried. "Drive it." "Are you?" he started to ask. "Drive it now," she demanded. He grabbed her and slammed the remainder of his phallus inside her. Ow! Tears shot from her eyes as she bit her bottom lip. "It hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, but it feels so good," she began, thrusting, chasing the pain, for it felt best to do so. "Nothing has ever felt this good," he said, feeling almost every muscle in her pusna hug his phallus. With every stroke, every part of his phallus was feeling her womb. Hands on her hips, he was giving her phallus. Damn, she loved it, all of it. Leaning down on him, she let him take control with his hands. Deeper and deeper was his thrust. "I love this phallus." "You love my phallus?" he asked. He could feel her pusna throbbing around his shaft. "Yes, I do. Don't stop," she moaned as she looked down at his phallus sliding inside her. "It's so big," she declared. "Oh fuck," he then said. "What?" she asked. "This may be too much," he told her. "No, take me. I want you to fuck me," she told him. Minun started giving her long, deep strokes. Her sexy little body, tight, small frame, was taking him in every blow. Sweat was now pouring from his body. Ripples of passion were beating at her. "I don't know what I'm feeling," she told him. "Oh my God, are you getting larger?" she asked. She could not help herself from digging into his skin with her nails. His hot, sweaty body glowed in the dim light. "I'm sorry, Minun's whole phallus was swelling with every stroke. "I can't." "Just don't stop." She felt it. She felt him coming inside of her. His hot pre-born sliding all over her insides. His phallus jumping inside of her, throbbing rapidly. "Oh," she cried out as his shaft struck a nerve and she began climaxing. "Oh God," she moaned. "Oh, Prim," he groaned as he continued to drive into her. Primowana pulled him forward to sit upright, started riding him faster, her legs startling his thighs. They continued for quite some time within Minun's tent until Primowana found herself lost in something she had never felt before. "Oh yes," she cried out. "Oh, Minun, you feel so damn great." She then felt her pusna begin to contract as she reached her point of release. With a shudder, she fell on top of him. Her body was tingled. She was so lightheaded. "I think I'm intoxicated." Minun held her as he fell back inside. "I can't believe how good that was." Minun moaned as she tightened herself to push him out of her body. She saw that his phallus was still throbbing slightly as she slipped from him. "Are you okay?" he asked her. "I will be," she replied. "Good, because I'm not done with you yet," he said as he climbed over her.